Hello again, fancy seeing you here back for another Technique Tuesday. So this week, I'm going to take you through some calf stretches. So a few weeks ago what we did was we talked about some calf stretches that you could do with the kettlebell. So it's more like a release technique that we did where you're kind of mashing that calf, and that's really good to help you work on that ankle flexion and dorsiflexion. Today we're going to go through something which is actually a little bit simpler than that. So what I've got here is I've got one of our angle boards. If you can do this with an angle board, it is a lot better than if you do this in a door frame. I'm going to take you through some key points and some things that I like to get people to do when I do this. So when we do it, I actually get people to put both feet on here rather than doing 1 foot at a time, because what you will find is with 1 foot at a time, you're going to have one side which is going to be looser than the other. So you're going to be able to get into a deeper stretch or a deeper position on the good side, and as not deep of a stretch on the bad side. And what that can end up doing eventually is actually causing you to have a lot more mobility on one side than the other, which can in turn potentially lead to injury. So by putting both feet on here, it means that you moderate the stretch based off your tighter side. So what we're going to do, we're going to go both heels on the ground and both sets of toes pointed forwards. And then I'm going to keep those knees locked out. And what I want to try and do is think about squeezing those glutes and bringing everything into a straight line. So I'm working from my shoulders through my hips, all the way through my knees down to my heels, and I'm aiming to get that straight line. What I've done here is I've pulled it up against the pull-up rig so that I can kind of pull myself into that position without relying on myself to do it. So making sure I keep that straight line. I'm going to hold for about 30 seconds. You're not going to be talking as much as me while you're doing it, just focusing on that breathing, nice, big, deep, controlled breaths. And then from there, you can just jump off. What I would do in between sets is I would just probably go through some light flexion and extension. So going through plantar flexion and dorsiflexion while you're doing that. So do about 10 to 15 times each side, just get some movement there. And then you'd rinse and repeat that 3 to 5 times, depending on how much time you've got. So this is just a nice light stretch for you to do for your calves before, if you find you have a lot of tightness, which a lot of people do, especially if you sit all day. The hamstrings might be weak and the calves are taking a lot of that work. So making sure we're actively stretching those out is a good thing. Now you can also do this if you don't have something like that at home. You can do this like in a door frame. So if you imagine that I'm on a door, the difference with that is it's still going to give you the stretch. It's probably not going to stretch as deep into that calf muscle as if you've got something like that set up. But this is an option as well. Even though you probably are only going to be able to do this 1 foot at a time, it's a little bit harder to, it's definitely harder on the upright for me to do it with both feet. You may be able to do it with both feet in a door frame. If you can, that's great. But if you can't, you can go back to doing it 1 foot at a time, because doing it that way, while it's not ideal, and I believe that you're better off doing both feet at a time, it's better than doing nothing. So nice, simple, effective calf stretch for you to do. Get yourself an angle board to help yourself out with it, and then loosen up those tight calves and get those ankles moving again. That's it for another week. If you've got any questions on what we've just gone through, hit us up. Other than that, we'll see you soon. Bye.